How Starbucks became a $100 billion success story. What made a small coffee shop in Seattle turn into a worldwide business worth more than $100 billion? Starbucks changed more than just how we drink coffee. It changed the whole world's coffee culture. But what is their trick to being so successful? Starbucks changed what a coffee shop could be by coming up with new ways to brand itself and give customers a unique experience. Stay tuned to find out how they made a multi-billion-dollar business and what makes them different from their rivals. Almost no one on Earth has never heard of Starbucks, the worldwide cafe giant. People in cities use its green mermaid logo and signature drinks all the time, just like computers and social media. But there's an amazing story behind this worldwide phenomenon. It's about a man who grew up poor, beat many problems, and turned his small coffee bean store into a $100 billion business. This is Howard Schultz's story. He used to be the CEO of Starbucks. His rise from struggle to success is both inspiring and humbling. Schultz came from a poor family and had a hard time with money when he was young. He grew up in the projects in Brooklyn. He and his family lived in a small, one-bedroom apartment in a public housing project. His dad was a veteran of World War II and worked in factories and as a truck driver for low pay after the war. That was a tough time for the Schultz family. Things got even worse when Howard was only 7 years old. When Schultz's father got hurt badly on the job as a truck driver, it was one of the most important events in his life. He broke his leg when he slipped on the ice while carrying diapers. His dad lost his job because he didn't have health insurance and was broke. At that young age, Schultz will never forget seeing his father lying on the couch, beaten and hopeless, with no way to support his family. This event made him even more determined to break the cycle of poverty and make his own life better. When Schultz wanted to escape the harsh truths of his family's financial situation, he often turned to his fantasy. He would sit on the stairs of his apartment building and dream of a future that was very different from the problems he saw at home. His love of sports gave him another way to relax. Schultz was very good at football in high school and finally got a scholarship to go to Northern Michigan University. Even though Schultz was good at sports, he didn't want to make a living in the field. He instead decided to major in communications, which caused him to have money problems. Schultz was determined to pay for college, so he took out student loans and did a number of odd jobs. His drive was so strong that he would sometimes sell his blood to make extra cash to stay alive. That showed how determined he was to achieve, no matter what. Schultz had many jobs after college, such as working at a ski camp and as a salesman for a company that made home goods. But it was when he worked as a salesman for a Swedish company that made coffee machines that he learned about a small business called Starbucks. Back then, Starbucks wasn't even close to being the world giant it is now. It was a small business with 3 owners that only sold coffee beans. Schultz was deeply interested in the business and saw huge promise in it. He tried for a whole year until he was 29 to get the owners to hire him. He didn't give up, and in the end he got a job at Starbucks as their director of retail operations and marketing. But Schultz had a lot more in mind for Starbucks than just selling coffee beans. Schultz had a big realization while on a work trip to Italy. He was amazed by the culture he saw when he walked into an Italian coffee shop. The baristas not only made great coffee, but they also got to know their customers well by meeting them by name and making the place feel like a community. Schultz saw that what was missing from the American coffee culture was the experience that he had in those Italian coffee places. Schultz was excited about this idea, so he went back to the US and told the owners of Starbucks about it. He wanted to make Starbucks more than just a store that sold coffee beans. He wanted it to be a place where people could get together, have a cup of coffee, and feel like they belonged. The owners were not satisfied, which was a shame. They didn't like his ideas because they thought Starbucks' only future was selling high-quality coffee beans and not making drinks. Not giving up, Schultz made the tough choice to quit Starbucks and start his own business, Il Giornale, where he could make his dream of an Italian-style coffee culture come true. But it wasn't easy to start a new business. Schultz had to face the huge task of getting money for his business. It was one of the most humbling times in his life. I talked to 242 people in the year I spent trying to raise money, and 217 of them said no, Schultz would later say. Imagine how frustrating it would be to hear no over and over again, and having your idea turned down each time. Schultz wouldn't give up though. He had faith in his dream, and finally enough investors did too. With their help, Schultz started his first coffee shop, which he hoped would be like the warm, friendly places he had seen in Italy. Even though Il Giornale did well, Schultz's trip was far from over. After a few years, Starbucks, the company he had left, was going out of business, which was a surprising turn of events. As soon as he saw the chance, Schultz did something brave. He bought Starbucks and became its CEO. He set out to make Starbucks into something much bigger. He had a clear vision and a deep knowledge of the coffee market. Schultz changed the name of his business to Starbucks and set out to grow the business all over the United States. He He wasn't just selling coffee, he was making an experience, a third place between work and home where people could hang out with friends, enjoy good coffee, and rest. Schultz's unshakable faith in the power of community and human connection fueled Starbucks' growth, and the business grew very quickly. Starbucks went from having one store to having more than 30,000 sites around the world while Schultz was in charge. These days, the business is worth more than $100 billion, and its famous green mermaid image is known all over the world. Schultz's dream had not only come true, but it was even better than he had imagined. Schultz's story isn't just about business success, though. It's also about being strong, having a vision, and how important it is to dream big. Even though he came from a poor family and had to deal with many problems, Schultz never lost faith in his ability to make something amazing. His story of how he went from selling blood to stay alive to becoming the CEO of one of the most successful companies in the world shows how important it is to keep going. Schultz has strong advice for people who want to follow their dreams. In life, you can blame a lot of people and wallow in self-pity, or you can pick yourself up and say, listen, I have to be responsible for myself. I think that life is full of close calls. The things we think are luck are often not luck at all. Sometimes it's just taking charge of your future. Schultz believes that you should own your dreams and be brave enough to go after them even if other people don't see them the way you do. He says, it's seeing what other people don't see and going after that vision. I had big dreams. Some people told me that the dreams I had were impossible. There is no one secret to success that I can give you, but from my own experience, I know that it is possible to start from scratch and achieve much more than I ever imagined. Schultz says that waiting for the perfect conditions will only cause you to miss chances. You'll never get anything done if you wait for the perfect time. You can now decide what to do and take charge, which is good. Don't forget this, in a year, you might wish you had begun today. What's your story? The path to success may be hard, include rejections and mistakes like Howard Schultz's, but it also has chances for growth, learning, and success. Schultz's journey from poverty to wealth is a powerful reminder that no dream is too big and no problem is too big for people who are ready to take charge of their future and passionately follow their vision. Love stories of success and innovation? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more inspiring business journeys like this one.